All right, baby, Thursday night football. We got a game only a better could love with the Raiders in Denver to take on the Broncos. Joe and Jingles coming at you with 5 total best bets for the game. Before we get into those, hit that like button and that subscribe button right down there. I'm going to get us started with a good old fashioned full game spread bet. Give me the favorite, the Denver Broncos, coming in at -9. So the Raiders have been really bad in two specific spots this season on the road and versus good teams. So, yes, they beat the Patriots in week 1, but they've torpedoed off a cliff ever since. Let's check out some of their results. An 11-point loss to the Chargers, a 17-point loss at Washington with Marcus Mariota starting, a 34-point loss to the Colts, and a 31-point loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Raiders were kind of fun coming into the season, right? Pete Carroll is in the mix. They're drafting Genty, bringing Geno Smith in. You have Tom Brady running around, but they have revealed themselves to be the same old Raiders and maybe even worse. So how do these teams match up? Well, it's hard to imagine the Raiders offense having much success against this Broncos defense, one of the best in the league. Raiders having a lot of trouble moving the football coming into action at 26 in yards per play. The Denver Broncos, number 1 in the NFL in yards per play allowed. Another big advantage in the red zone. Vegas can't finish. They're 29th in red zone touchdown conversion percentage. Denver, number 1 in red zone defense this season. Denver on a great roll at home, 8 consecutive outright wins of 10 and 16 versus the Raiders last season. I expect it all to continue on Thursday night. Give me the Broncos to cover the spread. Okay, Jingles, a couple of big names from a prop betting and fantasy perspective. In this one, you are targeting Ashton Genty. What do you like or not like for him?
Yeah, always I find sometimes maybe a little value on an opposing running back, especially in the carries market, as a 9-point dog. But let's go. Ashton Genty over 15 and a half carries plus one money at the time of recording, plus 117. Good to even money here. This Raiders team cannot just sit back and drop back versus this Denver pass rush. They will get absolutely obliterated. And Pete Carroll talked about that this week, saying the heavy reliance on Genty in the pass protection, but called for better blocking. He said Ashton is getting contact in the backfield far too often. We can't lean on him alone if the protection doesn't hold up. He hinted at adjustments for the short week, including more designed runs to counters Denver pass rush. Ding. That sounds like good volume. Chip Kelly talking about the same situation. He reiterated this week the need for better run pass balance. Ashton Genty's 5.1 yards per carry as a bright spot in that game. I think we see a lot from him. There's no Jacoby. The projections calling for 16.6 carries and 70 yards. The Raiders used 2 tight end sets heavily last week. They're going to lean into it again, like I said, without Myers. So this is a spot where if the game script can stay neutral, then this could be an easy one. And I think Genty, who played 90% of the snaps last weekend, just needs a little more work in that run pass balance, and this could go over.
Okay, my favorite prop for the game. I like Cortland Sutton to go over his receiving yard number of 54 and a half. A great spot for him because the Raiders are getting absolutely chewed up by opposing wide receivers, allowing 165 yards per game solely to the wide receiver position. That is one of the worst marks in the National Football League. He's been really reliable against this number. He's gone over in 6 of 9 games, including all 4 games at home, averaging 74 receiving yards per game on his home field. And I think maybe a pretty good buy low spot here. This number has been set in the high 50s into the 60s quite often here this season. And I call it a buy low spot because Sutton's coming off a 1-catch, 30-yard performance last week against the Texans, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL. You cannot say that about the Raiders in his most recent game against them last November. One of his better games of the season, 8 catches for 97 yards. Raiders have been decent against the run, so I think the easiest path to the end zone will come through the air. Give me Sutton to go over his receiving yard number. Okay, Jingles, a couple guys to get into the end zone, 2 separate bets. Who you looking at?
Let's go. Take another stab. Sean Payton's hurt me in the past. Hopefully, week 10's different. RJ Harvey for a TD. Plus 220 time recording. That's a DraftKings price. I think this is good to 180. Scored again last week, 3 straight games. He's got 5 touchdowns. Scored last week versus a really tough Houston defense. I believe the offense, the Denver offense, only had 1 red zone trip, no running back carries in the red zone. But if we go back last week, 2 weeks ago, it was Harvey who was the only one who cashed inside the 5. He plunged in a 1-yard run while J.K. Dobbins went 0 for 2 inside 5. We've seen him be able to get into the end zone through the air. We've seen him be able to get in the red zone on the run. I know J.K. Dobbins is a guy who's going to play the majority of the snaps, but R.J. Harvey, when he is in, is being used. And you have a 9-point favorite here in a spot on a short week with the rookie. I know this price has moved quite a bit from last week, but plus 400 last week was an absolute steal. I think this is a guy that you continue to look at having a pretty big role inside the goal line, and at plus 220, I think that's a buy today. The Raiders only one of 3 defenses allowing more than 1 rushing TD to opposing running backs on the season. It's the Harvey show, been bitten before, but let's go there. And if that one doesn't work, let's take a moonshot here and go with the 3rd string if he plays, but this number is worth it. Tyler Batty, plus 1,800 to score. Yes, plus 1,800. I mean, yes, there's some plus 1,600s out there, but I think they're both good. He played 23% of the snaps last week to Harvey's 31. He has a role. Most of that was in the hurry up offense, but project somewhere around 20 snaps, 1 carry, 15 routes. That's not a nothing role for this big number. If any injuries happen, this guy should be priced mid-game somewhere around plus 350 for a touchdown. If this is an absolute blowout, and it could be with the projected team total of 26.5 points and a 9-point favorite, then if he's getting late garbage snaps, this is huge. Plus 1,800 is an absolute great dart throw on a number 3 running back for an offensive coach who absolutely loves to switch up his running back. So let's go Batty plus 1,800, 0.3 units. Why not?
Okay, there you have it. All of our best bets for the Thursday night football game. Enjoy the game. Best of luck with your bets, and we'll see you right back here on the Covers YouTube channel for all the Sunday NFL action.